Hey everybody, it's Steve with Real Progressives. I'm going old school, straight out of the car seat, just to talk to you quickly about this concept of what it means to be a true revolutionary, per the words of the great Saul Alinsky and his rules for radicals. One of the things that Saul Alinsky came out and said, point blank, straightforward, was that real revolutionaries, they don't flaunt their revolutionary spirit. What they do is they cut their hair, they put on a suit, and they infiltrate from the inside. And you look over there at the terrorist cells, if you will. You know, these groups that plant their cells deep within enemy lines, so to speak, and they blend in with society without any problem. Then all of a sudden, at the right time, they spring forth, and there they are, ready to take over and do whatever it is they had planned to do to begin with. I mean, you saw this during the Cold War. You've seen this in other aspects where what they do is they trim their hair down, they put on a suit, and they do what they got to do to blend in, and then they do their plan. Their plan. Not, they're not running headfirst into the machine gun like I've said before. They're not like just cranking out bullets and swallowing them. They're in stealth mode. They go in there, they cut their hair, they put the suit on. All right. So recently, I feel it's my duty to every once in a while remind people that there's a right wing in America. I feel it's my duty to every once in a while remind us that the right wing doesn't have our goals in mind. They don't have our desires in mind. They don't have our interest in mind. And so when you hear people talking about a constitutional convention, and you hear people talking about ripping up the Constitution and starting over again, I oftentimes wonder if they remember that not only is a large part of the United States a right-wing, Ayn Rand, libertarian, fascist state, but there's a centrist wing of America that goes along with the right-wing, Ayn Randian, fascist state. We've got a huge swath of people that believe in bootstraps. We've got a huge swath of people that believe that somehow or another a government that creates its own currency has got to balance its budget. Folks, I'm telling you right now, between folks not realizing that the most effective revolutionaries are the ones that put on a suit, cut their hair, and walk in and infiltrate and destroy things from the inside, and more importantly, the people that don't recognize that there's a real enemy out there that's ready to eat our lunch every time we talk about a constitutional convention, I wonder, what are you thinking? The Koch brothers have long since been working out the state houses across America. The right wing has captured almost all the governorships across America. The right wing has been deeply effective at taking over their state houses. And they have been gunning for a constitutional convention from day one. Folks, the right wing desperately hopes you'll go along with them. The right wing is praying to dear God that you won't listen to Stephanie Kelton about deficits not mattering in the way that you think they do. They're hoping you won't pay attention to MMT. They're hoping that it'll be too late and that you'll go along with them and pass a balanced budget amendment, that you will create a new constitution that does all these things that you have long since hoped that would never happen, but you haven't paid attention. Because you didn't cut your hair, you didn't put on a suit, and you didn't try to infiltrate from inside. You decided you were going to run headfirst into a machine gun, screaming and yelling, fist in the air, and didn't realize they saw you coming from a mile away. They saw you coming before you even got out of bed. They knew you were coming. Exactly. A.L.E.C. You got it. These folks, A.L.E.C. has been at this forever. They desperately want a constitutional convention. Desperately want one. This isn't some slick left-wing way of getting rid of Citizens United. These people have been preparing for this. They're organized. They don't chase headlines. They don't scatter around. They have a focus and a goal. Admire them for the vicious, focused evil they are. But they are truly focused. They don't have people dividing all over the place. They stay focused. Our enemy is focused. And no matter how much independents or whatever may outnumber them, I'm telling you, the vast majority of this country, sadly, is not left-wing. The vast majority of this country still believes in bootstraps and eating your peas and not leaving any waste on your plate, making sure you eat every bite from your plate, cleaning your plate. They still believe that stuff. They still believe that hard work pays off always. They still believe that if you just go to school, good things will happen. They still remember a time when they carried a bag of ice 50 flights of stairs. They remember walking to school with bare feet. And they tend to vote that way. And if you rewrite the Constitution, they will want to make it that way. I'm telling you, we don't live in a bubble, folks. We don't get to have a progressive bubble where we just say this is the way we want it to be. I wish that was the case, but it's not. And I'm telling you, they are far more organized. Just watch when we try and talk about MMT to the average progressive. Watch how many of their eyes glaze over. Watch how many of them start chasing some headline or some tweet or some leaked email or some other thing. I'm telling you, they can't stay focused for 5 minutes. And that is a serious problem. Until we teach our movement what we're up against, we're fighting against a true enemy that is truly organized. It's something to behold, folks. You remember the evil of the Nazi Empire? Well, just remember the precision they goose-stepped down the hallway. Those fuckers were organized. They goose-stepped their way straight down the street, Sig Heil, the whole enchilada. Evil as fuck, but organized beyond words. We're up against something very similar in this country. We're up against something very, very similar in this country. And if you think that we're going to beat them by just running fists in the air straight into a constitutional convention, I hate to break it to you, but we're going to create a USA that's even worse than the one that we have today. We're going to create one even worse than we have today because our left wing is not educated enough to understand what we stand for. They're just angry, and anger may serve as a spark, but it is not the stuff that you build from. There's not enough energy, there's not enough intelligence, there's not enough organization there to lay the groundwork out to defeat years upon years upon years of organizing. The right wing doesn't screw around with identity politics. The right wing doesn't screw around with any other sidebars. They are straight at the fucking point. Remember, Hitler, evil. Hitler, organized. People marching goose step. Perfect symmetry, lines as long as the eye could see. Perfect symmetry, evil. That's what we're up against. So when you go around talking about a constitutional convention, remember, we can't organize ourselves just to get single payer. We need to fight for a Green New Deal. And we got people worrying about who came up with the name Green New Deal. No joke. People worried about who's going to get credit. But there they are, goose-stepping their way right to the White House, right down Main Street, and we're sitting there worrying about who gets credit for the name Green New Deal. Remember that. There's your organization. Remember that. Anytime somebody says, we're going to take the power, we're going to end the Fed, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, remember, they're more worried about who gets credit for the name Green New Deal. There's your organization, my friends. We got to do better than that if we want to win. If we want to be successful, we're going to have to do a hell of a lot better than that. And we're going to have to remember an old hippie named Saul Alinsky, who said that we don't flaunt our revolutionary spirit. We cut our hair, we put on suits, and we infiltrate. If you want to win, you're not going to win running down the street screaming with your hair on fire. I hope I've proven my point. Have a good day, everybody. I'll talk to you all tonight when I go live at 10 p.m. Eastern time with the studio and everything. I won't be in the car this time. Have a good night, all. Bye.